I'm Logan Webb, and you're listening to Torture Cast.
You're listening to a podcast by and for fans of the three-time world champion, San Francisco Giants. With hosts Chad King and Eric Nathanson. This is Torture Cast.
It's Wednesday, May 15th, 2024, and this is episode 300 of the Torchcast, the podcast by and for fans of the San Francisco River Cats. And I got a lot of questions today, Eric, but I have a leadoff question for you and for all of our listeners out there.
Are you not entertained?
And of course,
I hope people
buffers on it like that, but that's okay.
I hope people are entertained by us, because I'm not sure how much entertainment they're getting from, as you said, these San Francisco River Cats lately. Because that's what's going on right now with the San Francisco Giants. But I'm thrilled. 300. Like, this is definitely an achievement. We've been around longer than, Smartless celebrated their 200th the other day, and they tried to do the math to figure it out. I mean, you've got our math here. 300 is not even 300. We're almost at 400.
Yeah. We, back in the day when we had a little bit more time on our hands and a press pass, unfortunately, I might as well make it public now because I think other places have as well. The San Francisco Giants, this year anyway, have decided to not give out press passes to all of the independents, basically. That includes blogs, podcasts, etc. So unfortunately, us and other blogs and podcasts that we were friends with that we saw at games, we no longer can attend as media. So it's an unfortunate loss.
I'm just going to throw out there.
Yeah, go ahead.
We're going to wonder how they feel about that decision in 3 months when Lee is still injured and the Korean Mia hasn't been around for the last 3 months.
Yeah,
All those seats in the press box are sitting empty, because Jung-Hoo Lee is still rehabbing. I'm just saying. I mean, maybe they should have rethought that angle.
I know. I of course, publicly, I do want to thank the San Francisco Giants for giving us the opportunity to cover this team physically for 10 seasons. I mean, we got to have press passes for 10 seasons, and that's pretty remarkable. Something I didn't think we would get. It is sad that it's gone away, at least for now. I don't see it coming back anytime real soon, but I agree with you, Eric. Whether it's because of the Korean media influx that they anticipated getting, or too much paperwork, or whatever the reason was, there's going to be Tuesday nights like, last night. Well, it was Dodgers, I'm sure. It was a little crowded, but I was in the press box for many a weeknight where it wasn't even a third of the way full, just last year. So, yeah, I don't think crowds were really going to be too much of an issue, but the Giants have made their decision.
Not anymore.
It wasn't personal. I understand that. There's some other podcasts and blogs that are going through the same thing. They're frustrated as well, but it is the Giants. They can control their own access. It is what it is. But we used to do a lot of bonus sods back in the day where we would record kind of a bonus episode after the game at the local bar at Zeke's, which is no longer in existence anymore. So R.I.P. Zeke's. And so if you include all of those, plus the interviews that we did at Media Day or in the locker room or whatever, this is actually our 373rd or 372nd piece of audio that we've put on Torchcast. But as an official podcast, it is number 300. But here's some interesting stuff. So out of all those 372 pieces of audio, we have over 400 hours of content. Now, your assignment, listener, is to go back and listen to every one of those hours. So we'll wait. In fact, if we did have to wait, we would have to wait 16 straight days nonstop if you played it nonstop. So that's how much over 400 hours of audio is. Yeah. Right. If you start listening to this podcast first and you're done with it in an hour or so, and then you go back and listen to the other 400 hours, yeah, you'll be done. I think you're right. Yeah, right about June 1st. So right. I hope you have your caffeine and your no-dose and study well.
And we also appreciate the dedication to put in such the hard work to do that. I mean, we now have an episode a day for an entire year.
Isn't that crazy? It's crazy. Yeah, we have more than a piece of audio or episode for every day of the year now. So you can listen to it. That's another way to put it, Eric. Now your assignment is, okay, we understand you need sleep. Come on, we care about you guys. Just listen to one interview or one podcast every day, and you'll just have a few to go in a year. It's easy.
All right, we'll meet right back
problem.
here.
Yeah, we'll meet right back here. Although a year from now, we'll have another 20. So it's really going to be a year and a month or so. But, you can do it.
It'll be in June again.
Mid-June. There you go. Mid-June 2025. I looked up some podcast stats. And in 2020, of course, our first podcast was in June of 2011. And this is our, 14th or 15th season. I keep messing that up. But 2011, so that'd be first season. 14. So, yeah. So this would be 14th season.
14, yeah.
In 2020, which wasn't that long ago, during the pandemic, there was only 570,000 podcasts. Now there are over 5 million, but 3 million are considered active. So podcasts are exploding in growth, even though we've been around 9 years before those stats. But here's where it gets interesting. Just like marriages and restaurants, 44% don't publish more than 3 episodes. So almost half don't even get past 3. So that tells you
That's
how
amazing.
many people started as an experiment and then it just, doesn't go anywhere. Willie and I had that experience just a couple of years ago. We started a new podcast with 2 other guys and we got to about, 6 or 7 episodes and there was just some issues and it just didn't work out. And so we mutually agreed to just, not continue it. So it happens for different reasons. 720,000 podcasts have more than 10 episodes, and the average is 50 episodes per podcast. So we're well above that. I couldn't find any stats on how many podcasts make it to 300 episodes, but Eric, it's got to be well less than 1%. There's no question in my mind, considering half don't even make it to 3 episodes.
That's amazing. I finally made it to the 1%. I mean, that is impressive.
Not the 1% we wanted to make, but
no. If this podcast put us into the 1% that way, we'd definitely be doing more than 400 shows over the last few years.
Yeah.
It is kind of crazy to think though that how many have just shut it down after a little bit. Like you said, you had an experience where it didn't last long. I've had a couple podcasts that didn't last long at all. And so, the logistics, everything goes into the reason it's not. But I'm so thankful that people keep tuning in and downloading. You got the numbers for the different places people listen. I've always been an Apple podcast guy. But, I'm not going to lie. I have like 4 different podcast apps and I download every single episode we have on every one. Just because, it's kind of cool. We've been doing this a long time.
I know.
And we could only do it a long time if people were downloading. So, I'm glad that we still get to, do this. That's really the best part about this, is that we still get to, put out whatever BS we're feeling about the Giants, try to dissect what's going on and talk about baseball every week or so if we can. So, yeah. I mean, that's the greatest thing about it, but I love outlasting 99% of the field. That's such a good feeling.
No, and I do want to just especially thank all of the listeners out there if you're listening to this, because that's the reason we do it. If we were getting 2 downloads an episode, maybe we would have retired this a while ago, right? But the fact of the matter is, looking at our download stats, and this doesn't include streams on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, which, by the way, 33.7% of people listen to their podcasts through Spotify and 27.6% listen through Apple Podcasts. So more than 50% of people get their podcasts through those 2 streaming platforms. That does not include physical downloads through an RSS feed, like, you have Pocket Cast or Downcast or any of these apps where you actually grab it and physically download it to your phone. Just based on the download stats, we are well within the top 5% of podcasts for a number of downloads. So, I mean, we're doing well in that regard. And we have a niche podcast. I mean, we don't just appeal to sports fans. We don't just appeal to baseball fans. We appeal to just one of 30 Major League Baseball teams. Think about that, right? I mean, if you're a general baseball podcast, you have 30 times the audience. If you're a sports podcast, general sports, you might have 100 times the audience that we have. So to pull those numbers with just Giants fans and be in the top 5% of, podcast downloads, not even including streaming, It's
Right.
not bad. It's not bad. Again, we're not in this for the money. We don't even make money off of this. But all I'm saying is that we wouldn't keep doing this if people stop listening. And so thank you for doing that. Thank you for listening.
Maybe there's a subsection of Dodger fans out there who hate listen to our podcast, and to you, I say
Thank you. Keep it on
Yes.
on automatic download. You don't even have to
Yes,
listen.
and-
Just keep down.
But for the Giants fans, hopefully we can start talking about championships again, because Chad and I are not getting any younger. I know Willie, who's not here at the moment, it also is not getting any younger. So we have no idea if we're going to get to see another championship or anything like that. So it'd be nice to get some winning baseball and stuff like that in, and that's what we're going to dive into in here in a minute. But it's like, I don't know about you, but I'm starting to worry about when the next opportunity for the Giants to compete for championships is going to be, because the way things are going right now, it doesn't feel like it's anytime soon.
Well, Willie and Ben and the third host, blanking out his name for the moment. Mike, yeah. They started this podcast after the 2010 season. And, it was a good time to start it, right? They were hot. They had just won their first World Series in San Francisco. And I'm sure Willie and company thought, oh, God, maybe we missed the boat. We should, maybe this is the only championship they'll get. And now we're going to record after the fact. I joined in August of 2011, so not long after. So I'm almost an original. But then they go and win, 12 and 14, and obviously did well in 16, getting to the playoffs. So, I mean, really right after we started this podcast, every other year the Giants either won the World Series or were extremely competitive. And it was good enough to just, keep those competitive juices, those championship juices flowing. And then we had that big lull, 17, 18, 19, 20 with the pandemic. And then 21 comes along and reinvigorates everyone, sets, the team record for wins. And we're thinking, oh my God, is this going to work? Is this Nope. That was it. It was a flash in the pan. And since then, 22 and 23 just kind of fell on their faces. And here we are, almost a quarter of the way into 2024. And Eric, I got to say, you and I, it's not too late. It's still early in the season, but things seem to be getting worse for this team. And that's what I'm overly concerned about. I know you were predicting 90 something, 95 wins. I was going 86 or whatever it was, 85, 86. Yeah, we might have to take a all-star break or mid-season reevaluation of those numbers, because as of right now, they certainly are not getting anywhere close to 95. And even, somewhere in the 80s, there's plenty of time to get there. But things have to seriously change. And the problem with that is all the injuries. And we'll get to that in a second. But right now, the Giants are reeling. They're 19 and 25, 6 games under 500, in 4th place in the NL West. But here's the thing. Even though we knew they would not compete for the West, everybody picked the Dodgers. It's May 15th. They're 10 games back of the Dodgers. There's not even any hope anymore. Like, hope is already gone with the West. It's just gone, right? Because the Giants are never going to race a 10-game lead. It's just going to keep growing. So we always hoped about the wild card, and that's where the hope exists. Still only 2.5 games back of the 3rd spot, despite only having a better record than 3 teams in the National League right now. I mean, that's how tight things are in the wild card race. And they're tied with the Cardinals for record. So, it is what it is. The Giants' season is not over by any stretch of the imagination. 2.5 games is nothing. But they lost the first 2 to the Dodgers in pretty crappy fashion. 1 in extra inning, 1 in a whooping last night. And Shohei Ohtani's 446,000-foot blast to center field that almost got in the water, which was just disgusting. People were talking about that was Barry-esque, and it was Barry-esque. It was like, wow, this dude is strong. But the Giants have now hit a tremendous amount of injuries, and that's why I opened up the show. Thank you, Eric, for the name, the San Francisco River Cats, because that's who they are right now. And on top of that, they're the only team out of 30 to not have won 3 in a row this year. How have they not won 3? Every team has won 3 in a row, except for the Giants. 3 in a row. That's not even hard.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that freaking insane? I
That
mean, they've won 2 in a row
sucks.
more than once, but they can't get that third one in a row. Yeah, and that's what it's going to take this team to get back into, I don't know, just a better feeling, let alone in competition, and get back to 500, right? They would need a 6-game winning streak to get there right now, but we don't need it all at once. We just need a 3 or 4 game winning streak, then lose 1 or 2, then another 3 or 4, then lose 1. They need to get into a serious stretch here, but what do you think about these injuries, Eric? I mean, we already knew about Blake Snell, and he did make a rehab start in San Jose. Did very well. Struck up the beer batter, actually. People were very happy about that. He had an immaculate inning, all that stuff, and he's going to make another start for the River Cats on Friday. So we'll see how that goes. But we'll go through the whole list of injuries. But I think we need to lead off with the most prominent injury, and that was Jung-Hoo Lee, who separated his shoulder over the weekend against the Reds. Unfortunately, structural damage is reported. He's seeking a second opinion, which we're supposed to know more about it today. I assume maybe in Melvin's pregame presser. I don't know. But a lot of people are saying this doesn't sound good. And it does have the potential to be a season-ending injury. Even if it's not, this is probably in order of a couple, 3 months. He's on the shelf. And so... this is pretty devastating.
Yeah, this was a gut punch, an absolute gut punch. Like some of the other ones, they kind of happen, and yeah, it sucks to lose Tom Murphy, the backup catcher. It sucks that Conforto goes down for a little bit, because he hit decently at the beginning of the year before hitting a few road bumps. But to lose Lee, literally their most exciting player. We talked about it throughout the offseason when they signed him. He's the reason to come to the park. That's what they're trying to push. He is exciting. I mean, just watching him run around in center field, forget about batting, just watching him play the field is exciting. And it just kind of took the wind out of the sails of the Giants. I mean, he has been a bit of a spark for them, and that one hit me hard. It's really tough because with structural damage now, he's going to probably miss the rest of this season. So the guy gets surgery, and he's got to come back next year, and so he won't be 100% next year. So we're not going to see the real Jung-Hoo Lee until 2026, which really just sucks. It just sucks, like we finally had this nice shiny toy. And yeah, he was hitting into a lot of bad luck, so obviously that was going to turn around too. And now we just don't have it anymore. Even next year, however he plays, is not going to be indicative of how good he is, because he's going to be coming back from the injury. So it was a gut punch. This was an absolute gut punch to me. It's not a season-ending gut punch as far as like, oh, now they can't make the playoffs, because that already feels like a thing. It was more of they're less interesting to watch now. I'm not as excited to flip on the TV when I'm looking at Jackson Reitz and Luis Matos in center field, and Blake Sable is the DH. It's just not getting me going. And Jung-Hoo Lee got me going, so that one really sucked.
Yeah, speaking of gut punches, Willie Dills has just joined us. How you doing, Willie?
Oh man,
Are you saying it's
here I come with my special move, the gut punch. Yeah, I didn't know. Jung-Hoo Lee. Not only might we not see Jung-Hoo Lee until what were you saying, 26?
Well, I'm saying we won't see the best of him until 26.
No, I don't even think we're gonna see the best of him ever again, man. Like, this is a shoulder separation is really bad. There's been a few guys who have had that kind of injury and a surgery, and then never been the same ever again after that. Like, I guess you could say, luckily, it's his left shoulder.
Sure. Right, it's his non-throwing.
So it's his back arm, but the problem is when you get it's the hitting is the thing that doesn't come back to these guys. So I don't know, man. That sucked. And you know what else was funny about that play is, so we win that game, right? Then the very next night, 2 balls fly over fucking Matos' head in center field that I think Jung-Hoo Lee catches, and we win the game against the Dodgers. Literally, like, the very next game, you're like, oh, yeah, well, there you go. That's why that guy's awesome.
Yeah.
Even though you were saying that the bad luck on the BABIP not going his way, he was hitting a lot of balls really hard, some of them going right at people. He wasn't getting a lot of extra base hits, but he was hitting the ball hard, and he was exciting at bat. But it was really his fielding that had just been the funnest thing to watch. I mean, he was tracking everything down. He made probably the play of the season so far for the Giants until Yaz made the amazing dive, whatever, 2 nights later. But that running away play, like, he made it look easy over the shoulder. You know, it didn't even look like a challenge for him to track that ball down. So, yeah, literally, the 2 balls go over, like, the last one to end the game. It's rough, man. It was like, this is why we signed this kid. And, yeah, I don't know, man. Everybody we signed isn't here. So,
Curt Casali's coming back. Man.
We're watching last year's Giants when we had the rotating list of who's making their MLB debut today going on. That's all happening again. So now they're not making their debut, at least. Now they've all seen some action. But, yeah, this is basically we're watching the quadruple A team right now.
Yeah, well, I opened up the show saying the podcast by and for fans of the San Francisco River Cats. And, I mean, these are the guys that were on the River Cats on May 1st. Matos, Wisely, Schmidt, Luciano, Sable, Reitz, Ramos. All 7 of those guys just 2 weeks ago were on the River Cats, and now they're up on the Major League squad.
You know what? Bring up Munilla, dude. We need to see him. Let's go.
Right?
That kid can run down the ball in center field. Hell yeah.
Why not?
A lot better than
exciting.
Matos could. Matos
I'm
is
telling
like
you.
step slow, man. I don't understand it.
I know it is weird. He is promising, but yeah, I don't know. He doesn't excite me as much. Matos excites me, Ramos excites me.
I agree.
I confuse those two all the time. But dude, I saw Munilla in spring training. He's super exciting. Just fucking bring him up, man. Let's go. Give the fans something to be hopeful about. I was looking at the attendance stats, and the Giants are miraculously like the 10th most attended baseball team this year.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's good. We're about to hit the toilets with that number because who the hell is going to a game now? I don't care.
You're going to start seeing
totally
attendance dip. Yeah, for sure.
I'm a guy who loves going to a baseball game. I don't care. It is off of my list right now.
Well, you're like I could go to Sacramento and see the team for $5, or I could see the same team here for $100. Which one am I going to do?
I started this season by not having MLB the app anymore. I almost just said the show, which is most of my baseball right now is just playing MLB the show. But by buying a special thing so that I can make sure I watched all the games, because I don't have everything's all blacked out now in SF, and I'm not in Austin anymore, obviously.
Yeah.
I was so excited. I was like, I'm going to watch every game. This is amazing. At this point, I'm watching the condensed game before I go to bed. And for a while I was like not even letting myself get spoiled. Now I just don't even care. I just look and see what the score was. I'm like, 10-2? Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I know. I admit that's what I did last night. I watched some of the extra inning game, but last night, I was busy.
I just watched.
But I tuned in. I was like, it's 10-1. Oh God, Ohtani. We talked about that at the top of the show.
I literally watched Ohtani's home run, and then I was like, that's all the highlight I need.
Yep.
By the way, where that ball landed. Can you imagine if you just got a beer and you're walking by the cable car and then you just get a ball? A home run Ohtani ball?
Yeah. You would never expect one out there. I mean, Barry Bonds is the only guy that could reach there. And here we go. Ohtani is, very Barry-esque in a lot of his, power.
I thought it was going to get to the water in Triples Alley.
Could you imagine
that would have been amazing.
Insane, dude. Yeah.
I haven't actually watched this home run. I got to go look this up.
Oh, dude.
Go look at
it's insane.
It's where balls are not supposed to go out.
Yeah.
The ballpark was designed to make left-handers mad that it didn't go out there. And he just went, 60 feet past there.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Hey, Willie, I do want to give you kind of a fair shake here to talk about the beginning of the podcast. You missed it, but we opened up with not a clip from 300 because I got my movies mixed up, but from Gladiator. Are you not entertained? Okay. Right?
Sure.
Because first of all, we wanted to thank all of the listeners. It's the only reason we do this. This is episode 300. We started, you guys started in June of 2011. If you count all the bonus episodes and interviews, this is actually like episode 372.
There's a lot more. We did a lot of those.
But I did put out a few stats. First of all, over 400 hours of content. So if you started right now, you'd be done around June 1st, listening 24 hours a day. So
Wow,
it'll take about
let's
16
go.
days, right? So that's the assignment everyone has. Is if they listen to one episode every day, they'd be done about a year and a month from now. So, you know, they can do that, right? No,
Sure.
but first of all, just 4 years ago, there's only 570,000 podcasts. Now there's over 3 million active. But 44% don't publish or haven't published more than 3 episodes. Almost half don't even get past. Only 720,000 have gotten more than 10 episodes. The average is 50. Most people listen on Spotify and Apple at 33.7 and 27.6%. We are also a niche podcast. And I was saying, we're not just a podcast. We're not just a sports podcast. We're not just a baseball podcast. We're a San Francisco Giants, one of 30 Major League teams podcast. And yet we are well within the top 5% of download stats in all podcasts. And that's not including streaming.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to thank everyone, even though, you know, we're not making millions or anything like that. But I kind of wanted to give you the platform to talk about, since I wasn't there, how did you guys come to the conclusion, like, hey, let's start a Giants podcast?
So the original cast of this show was me, Mike Garcia, and Ben Lee. We all worked together at an Apple store in Stonestown Mall, San Francisco. And at the time, I was already a podcaster, right? At the time I was on the Instance, pretty sure. Which, by the way, that's another show that had surpassed 300. So I've done it a few times. Actually, the Angry Chicken surpassed 300 as well. So I've done it. I've got a few of those this is my third one. My third episode 300 on the podcast, which is I think that probably puts me in a very small,
very small
group.
Yeah, we were talking about being in the 1% before. You're the 0.1
Yeah,
of the 1%.
yeah. I can think of a few, but they're all like professional podcasters, you know. So it's pretty cool. Basically they knew that I was on a podcast, right? Everybody actually freaking Apple knew I was on a podcast. Working at Apple, guess what? There's a lot of nerds. It's crazy, but nerds tend to work at computer companies. When I was actually there, I found out that there was a World of Warcraft. So anybody who doesn't know what the Instance is, it's a World of Warcraft podcast. It was actually the #1 podcast for that game. And talking about niche, we're talking about one team and one game, but you know, it's on TV. People know about baseball.
Yeah.
World of Warcraft, one game, not gaming. We're talking about one game. And yes, it's the biggest version of its style of game. But, you know, if I were go outside right now and ask like 10 people if they played WoW, maybe one of them has, you know.
Yeah.
So it was pretty niche, but I found out at Apple they had an email group of people who talked about World of Warcraft together, just within the company. They were like, "Oh, dude, we got to add you to that." I add in and I go, "Hey guys, this is Willie. Just in case this is me. What if you know WoW? Maybe you know this." And then everybody in the group was like, "Holy crap, Dills!" Like everybody knew who I was, and I was wild. So once that kind of news got out there, Ben was very intrigued about podcasting. He clearly had given it some thought. Mike Garcia actually went to broadcasting school with me at SF State, so we already had a radio show together. So that just made sense. But Ben was the one who really pushed to do this, and I was like, "Yeah, man, of course. I love the Giants. I would love to do that. I would love to talk about the Giants." So Ben just kind of kept bugging and persisting, and I just threw it together and made all the things happen. The name Torture Cast made a lot of sense at the time, because 2010 was the year of Giants baseball is torture.
Yeah. Dwayne Kuiper's famous little quote there.
Yes.
Torture.
Yeah, I mean, I specifically remember the game when he said it. It was a Giants-Padres game.
Yes, it was. I always remember that too.
Yeah, the Giants won the game, and I remember at the time we were actually camping. So I was like watching the game on like some crazy TV setup that we had or whatever. It was like going to a commercial break, like Giants baseball, torture. You know, I'll never forget. You know, and it was like, oh my god, perfectly encapsulated what that team was like that year. Brian Wilson, their closer, constantly getting saved with the bases loaded, it seemed like. So we called it that, and in the first episode, we kind of bumbled through, me and two unseasoned podcasters. We had fun, and, it stuck. And we started doing it continuously. On the show, the instance I mentioned that I have a new podcast of the Giants, that Chad already listened to that show, and I was probably like, whoa, what? Let's go. And yeah, you contacted us pretty early on in the process. I don't remember how many episodes we had done, but it was clear to me, by the way, at that point, that we were gonna lose steam with that cast. Like, Mike then didn't understand there's a reason a podcast sticks around forever, and people listen to it, and that's that you keep posting. Now, obviously, we take hiatuses during the off season quite. But I can tell they were like, "Oh my god, show up again next week? Do this again next week?" It's like, yeah. You gotta like this every week, But luckily, Chad, you offered, I think, right, to do some segments.
Yep. I started with the out of left field segments, and then I think I know my first episode was August, but I think I was just like a guest then. I can't remember when I kind of came on.
Yeah, you get to on pretty early as a guest. Maybe Mike was there, maybe not, but Mike kind of dropped off pretty early into that process. So then the cast became. Then I asked you if you wanted to just become a host. I think 3 hosts is the perfect number for a podcast.
I think it's a good number.
Remember, Chad? Me and you tried to do one with 4 that one time. Remember that?
I mentioned that on this show because we were talking about podcasts that don't last, and I said, Willie and I started one with 2 other guys, and things just didn't work out for whatever reason. That's what happens to podcasts, right? So it's not, whatever, it happens.
Well, 4 people is rough, man. It's like hard for everyone to get their shit in. You know what I mean? It's hard to. That's an indie wrestling term, by the way, that they use for every time you see a wrestler in an indie promotion. They both have to do all their moves. It's just a thing. So the matches all end up taking like way too long because it's like, I got to do all my stuff, which is a mistake. You shouldn't have to do all your stuff. But on a podcast, you do want to do all your stuff. And it's hard. There's 3 guys. There was a period where the instance had Patrick, me, Scott, and I think there was somebody else, maybe Garrett or something. Like we tried for a second, and I was like, nah, I don't like this. Like I basically tuned out. I didn't want to do it anymore because it's just too many people. The 3 is a good number. So Chad, we had you come on, and luckily we did because you're the one who's been able to carry this thing for a while in my absence. And then we lost Ben at some point. Ben actually made it to the era of a press box.
Yep,
he made it that long. Which I can't believe he decided not to continue once we had perplexes. I'm so we don't basically like, what's the point anymore? We just wrap it up.
Hey, Willie, just to let you know, you're roboting. Your connection got a little bad. You're kind of roboting a lot right now, so I don't know if you want to reset that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Here, I'll pop back there. You guys continue.
Okay, we'll do.
And then following that, Willie did. I mean, I was going to continue his story, but I can't continue his story.
No, I could hear him, for most of that, but at the end there, it got a little wonky. So anyway, I thought it'd be better if hopefully he can reset his connection and come back in so we can hear the rest. But let's see if he's come back in yet. No. Back to injuries, dude. All right, so Jung-Hoo Lee, we're fearing he might be gone for the year, and you bring up a good point. Even though it's his non-throwing shoulder, I mean, it could take him quite a while to get back to where he was. And he was the only guy they signed to a long-term deal, too. So it goes to figure, a high average annual value. And what was it, 4 years or 5 years? I can't remember. I
think.
Yeah. And he's going to be gone probably the rest of this year. And who knows how he's going to be next year. It's frustrating. And Willie's back. Let's see how he sounds.
All right. How do I sound now?
Still a little robot-y. I wonder if it's a bad connection.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. It actually, the first time I joined, it took forever to join. This time it popped right in. So I will read the entire thing, like turn the internet off in the house and back on, and then I'll be back.
All right. All right. So God, Bailey's back on concussion protocol after he's supposed to come up. Jorge Soler still on the 10-day IL with his shoulder. And then, did you see what happened during batting practice yesterday?
Oh my God.
I mean, I didn't even see the replay until today, but he's taken BP and no helmet on, which not always the smartest thing to do. To be honest, I don't know why you would hit without a helmet, right? Because things ricochet.
Yeah.
So you have that tubing, that metal piping that, of course, forms the cage of the batting cage, and then there's net draped over it. So he fouled a ball straight up, hit that piping, that pipe, bounced directly down right off his head. I mean, yeah, it was bad luck, but at the same time, it's kind of like, well, if you had a helmet on, that wouldn't happen. Apparently, it didn't cause any major damage, but you see him react and then go down into a squat holding his head. It clearly didn't feel good, nor should it. Oh, I mean, this team is just bitten by the bug right now. You had Keaton Winn yesterday, forearm tightness. He has an MRI today. We'll see how that comes out. Michael Conforto, hamstring, 10-day IL. Hamstrings are always an issue. I know. I've had 2 rip off the bone that had to be surgically repaired. Austin Slater.
Still hurts to think
I
about.
know. Austin Slater, Nick Ahmed with a wrist sprain, Tom Murphy out 4 to 6 weeks with a left knee sprain. This is, I mean, is this like a sniper on the grassy knoll? What is going on?
Well,
This
I
is
mean,
crazy.
like Murphy's didn't need to happen. It was in that wet game in Philly that shouldn't have necessarily been played at that time.
Yeah.
So that's a little frustrating. But, like, you know, you talk about Conforto with hamstring. Hamstrings always seem to pop up. But then you got Ahmed with the wrist. You've got Bailey with the concussion. It's like we can't even point to one thing. That's what kind of sucks about it. We cannot point to one thing at all right now and say this is why they're getting hurt. And watching them go down one by one, I don't recall a stretch like this. You know, you mentioned maybe in September, you know, or I think Willie did, we're seeing new guys all the time. But, like, I don't ever remember a stretch where they lost this many people this fast to injury. To have an entire replacement team have to come up. Like, it's amazing Yastrzemski's made it through this. Because that guy's sometimes fragile as hell. I probably just jinxed him. He's going to get his one night with Casali. Yeah, he's going to get his one night with Casali tonight because they're good buddies from Vandy. And then, bam, that's going to be it. That's all he's going to get. You know, I totally just jinxed him. Oh, man, sorry, guys. But, like, it's weird, though, that Winn's the first pitcher. Well, Snell, okay,
Yeah.
Forget that. But Snell's a different story. Snell was kind of rushed to start, and then something happened. I mean, I remember he thought he was going to pitch the next day, and then he woke up and they decided, oh, no, you've got too much of a tweak, you know, and you're going to have to come back in a little bit. So I don't even know what to make of it. I don't know where it came from or why it is. It's just, why does it have to be us right now? Why does it have to be when we're trying to get into a baseball season and enjoy ourselves? You know, it totally is. It's just why. You know, you want to look up to the heavens. Just why? You know, why are we? But hey, we won a World Series 10 years ago, so we should be satisfied. No, crap that. I hate that they're getting injured right now. I've never seen this. I don't think I can ever recall this ever happening. And on top of things, Bob Melvin hasn't shown himself to be the best manager either. With the little parts that he has, I haven't been a fan of some of the moves he makes. So, like, I'm not sure what we're even doing here anymore. But, you know, half the team's missing, so how can you even judge it?
Yeah, a couple updates. Jorge Soler will get some at-bats in Sacramento tonight. Giants are off tomorrow, but it seems likely he's back on Friday if everything goes well. That's from Pavs. Then Curt Casali had an opt-out in his minor league contract with the Cubs and signed with the Giants last night. He was on the East Coast but stayed up late to talk to Yaz, a close friend. Casali, quote, "I think I probably shed a tear. Coming back here is like coming home." So there you go. But yeah,
That's
Curt
nice.
Casali, the former, what was it, Jumbo Shrimp or whatever, with the Marlins.
Yes, Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp.
Started with the Cubs, actually was hitting well, 362 with the Iowa team, but he had an opt-out. So once the Giants contacted him, it looks like, going, yeah, we need our 89th catcher this year in May. He was like, yep, I'm there. So he opted out, signed a one-year deal with the Giants, and here we are. It's just one of those names you never thought you'd hear again, you know? Like, he's 35 years old. I thought he was retired or something at this point. But that's what the Giants are.
So,
Apparently, though, he was raking in AAA, though. So
Yeah. No, 362 with a couple of bombs.
saying
So.
like 360 something.
Yep.
Yeah.
Am I
Let's be
better?
honest.
Is it better?
Anything
It's
is
better.
better than watching Jackson Reitz swing
Okay.
through fastballs. He doesn't even have like a normal swing. It's like a half swing. He like takes like a practice cut at it, and it's like, oh, I just couldn't touch it. I don't understand how the guy hit a homer. I don't understand how he's lasted 10 years.
I actually, when he was up in the Dodgers, was it the Dodgers game?
Yeah,
I stopped
Monday
paying
night.
attention for a second. I look over and he's hitting. I'm like, who the hell is that? Like, I literally just said it. I yelled it out loud, and everybody in the bar was like, I know. I don't know. I wish I had an answer. And then when they showed the replay of him striking out on a check swing, like you said, a half swing, I saw the name on the back. I was like, oh yeah, that guy. I forgot we had him. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Curt Casali, now he was a good Giant, so
Yeah.
I'm fine with him being back.
Oh yeah,
That's okay.
and I also expect him to get more than one hit and 12 at bats. But
Yeah.
maybe he won't, but he probably will. Jackson Reitz couldn't.
Yeah, it is pretty odd. He his major league debut was in 2021. In fact, that was his only appearance in the major leagues. He had 2 plate appearances, 2 at bats. He had 1 hit, which was a double, and now his second hit is a home run. And so he only has 2 hits in the majors in 14 at bats. And it's a double and a home run. So I guess when he hits it well. It's just not very often. Man, this is bad stuff.
All right. So if I'm better, if it's actually better,
It's
I'll
much
continue.
better.
I'm
Much
okay.
better. Please continue.
All right. Yeah, I had to just turn everything off and back on. So I want to just put a pin in that put a button in that conversation real quick. I'm going to say this: the podcasting conversation. You mentioned most podcasts don't get past 3 episodes. I'm actually working with Podomatic right now on some stuff because their biggest issue as a podcast hosting company is retention. He's like, most people will sign up, they'll get all excited about podcasting, they'll do 1 episode, and then they'll never do another one ever again. He's like, this is like 95% of our users. So we need to figure out, how do we get people to do the 2nd episode, the 3rd episode, the 4th episode, stick around long enough to start paying for hosting, you know? How do we turn these people who get excited about a podcast into real podcasters? And there's no easy answer, because podcasting, while everyone thinks they have a lot to say, everyone thinks, man, I'd be great on a podcast. The bitter truth about podcasting is most of the time you're talking into a void and there's nobody on the other end listening to you, right? And a lot of people aren't ready for that. They, in their head, they think they're going to be the next big thing. They listen to these podcasts and they love them and they go, well, I don't understand why I can't do that. Now, of course, I had that same thought many years ago and turned that into a reality. But it's like YouTube. A lot of people would make a YouTube channel and then there's nothing on the other end. This is why I think TikTok has gotten so popular. The algorithm just puts your videos out there to people. So even the weirdest idiots have, like 600,000 views on TikTok, right? But, in long form media like podcasting, that's not the case. And most podcasts never get listened to. And that's tough. Now, we're very lucky that we do have listeners. Not a huge amount, but like you said, we're very niche. One team in one sport. There's not a huge audience to be pulled from there. But I could say we got past the hard part, and now we got to this part, which is the good part. And I'm really thankful for you guys keeping it going whenever I wasn't around. So it's very cool. It's something to be proud of. And all the listeners out there, thank you. I'm really glad you guys found the show. There you go. Boom.
Yeah. No, thanks,
Button.
everyone. Hey, my food review video from last year got more views than Pav's food review video, so there you go. So.
Hey, hang your
you know what,
hat
too,
on
by
that.
the way? You know what, by the way? When we started this show, Chad, who were we competing with at that point for these Giants listeners?
Yeah, it wasn't
Giants Pod.
Giants
like
Pod.
nobody else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was Danny and Thomas.
Now you know who we're competing with? We're competing with fucking Cole Kuiper.
Yeah. And Pavs who do one together.
It's not fair out there anymore. It's not fair anymore.
Yeah, they're like, let's get into this podcasting thing. It's like,
I gotta say, and this is a nod to our international listeners. I think that's the coolest thing that I've gotten from this whole experience. is seeing people from other countries who want to find out more about the San Francisco Giants. So they find us in the process, and then they stick around.
Sure.
And I think it's really,
Yeah.
really cool. We've got quite a few examples of people from, Australia and from Europe and England who, have reached out to us and said things like that. And that's just one of those things that, like, I didn't expect. You know what I mean? I just wanted to talk some ball.
Sure.
I was so glad to just
Well,
be a
Eric-
guest on the show the first time. You know what I mean?
We would have never met you ever. A Giants fan from Chicago, if it wasn't
Right.
for this podcast. And it's awesome that, we got to take you into the press box and we got to all hang out and see a game together. Like, none of that would have happened. It is very cool. And actually, this will be one last thing I'll say about this, but this is something I heard somebody say once, and it really stuck with me. It is demoralizing sometimes to look at your download numbers and be like, man, there's only imagine you're a guy who's only getting like 20 downloads a show, right?
Right.
Which luckily that's not us. We're getting more than that. But imagine, and so it's demoralizing. You're like, oh man, only 20 listeners. But now imagine if you were at a bar talking, and 20 people were listening to you intently at a bar, just ramble on about some bullshit. You'd be like, man, I am so interesting. All 20 of these people are just sitting here listening to me. And that obviously that never happens. You don't go to a bar and everybody in the bar turns around and says, hey, talk to us. Tell us something about the Giants. So you have to kind of put it into perspective that even if it's just 20 people, even if it's just 100 people, yeah, that's a lot of people if it were in real life, if you were looking at them in front of you, paying attention to what you're saying. So you gotta take what you can get and be grateful for it. You know what I mean? The fact that anybody cares what you have to say is pretty cool. So I gotta say, I think you guys are very interesting when it comes to baseball, and I think I would choose you guys over a lot of people who are on ANBR right now.
Oh,
just saying,
man.
So
Oh man, we're talking.
crap.
I don't want to start crapping on people, and I won't do that specifically. But man, things from the post game shows, a few of the KNBR or 95.7 the game segments or whatever. Just there's certain people you listen to, you're like, you don't know as much as you're portraying that you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's
True.
It can be disconcerting at times, but that's okay.
And
I'm not in that space trying to get those jobs, so it's whatever,
Yes.
It's the way I look at it.
I'll say this about KNBR. I used to work there. I used to work at KNBR. I know exactly why the quality has dipped so dramatically. It's because radio is kind of a dying business.
Certainly.
And ever since I was there, they've been slowly firing people, firing people, not hiring new people. I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but I was listening to a game one time or whatever, and it sounded like somebody just turned on some random mic somewhere, and there was just noise in the background. Then there was a period where it was just silent for a while. Then a commercial started in the middle of an inning. There's all sorts of weird random bullshit, and I'm like, where is Tim
Where's
Webb?
the producer?
That guy was
Yeah.
a professional.
Yeah,
but I'm like,
it's an interesting space, and the podcast space keeps growing. So, that's a good thing, at least. We hope to only attract more and more people. Granted, the demographic, most people are between 18 and 34 that listen to podcasts, but I have a feeling that our demographics, specifically because they're baseball related and it's mostly male dominated, probably tend to lean a little bit older than that. But so we're gonna seek out sponsors like Metamucil and Depends and others, and it'll be great.
Sure.
Oh,
I actually that's a good point. That's a good point.
have you been checked for prostate cancer? Sorry.
Ay vey. All right. So, look, guys, injuries are bad enough. Now they have the Sacramento River Cats up. I keep thinking to myself, the pitching started pretty shitty at the beginning of the year, but their offense was doing all right. Not so much anymore. Kind of doing a stat check before the podcast. The Giants are 17th in batting average, 19th in on-base percentage, 22nd in OPS and home runs, and 24th in runs. The pitching, of course, like I said, is even worse. Overall, 26th in ERA, 27th in WHIP, 29th in batting average against, That's interesting.
I hear background.
Yeah, for those
stuff,
of
though. There you go.
Right?
Yeah,
I was
for
worried
those that
that,
didn't
like,
know,
this was
my,
gonna be a Liam Neeson movie. Were you
my
taking it? What the hell just happened?
I didn't touch a damn thing. I'm just talking here, and suddenly I don't hear anything from you guys, and suddenly I hear Gladiator going. Well, I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Yeah. Anyway, for those at home, my computer.
Really perfected the craft, you know.
I was gonna say.
Listen to me very carefully.
This is episode 1 of our new Giants podcast.
Yep.
It's called Off the Rails.
By the way,
Willie, Chad, and Eric.
Dude. Okay, Eric, you got to have some technical problems now.
Oh my god.
Yeah, what's up?
All right. Breaking news. Apparently, the Giants just signed Gerard Encarnacion from the Mexican
They signed
League.
the guy.
They signed him.
Yeah. So we're not just watching AAA. We're watching the Mexican leagues now.
Oh my God.
We're just out scouring the globe for anybody. We're like, hey, can you play outfield? Can you catch?
The Cleveland Indians found Jake Taylor in the Mexican League. So, you know, there are some gems out there.
Wow.
At least
Are you fucking with me, Tolbert?
At least you could have said you were from the Yankees.
Oh, shit. Apparently, though, he was raking there, too. So, you know, I think that's a 1-to-1 comparison. You know, in the Mexican leagues, you might face Trevor Bauer. So,
well, he's got 16 homers, so who knows what that translates to? But who knows if he'll see the field? I mean, you know, it's just another outfielder. That's what they've lost a ton of is outfielders. That's the crazy part.
You know what? I'm going right now to Fan Joy, and I'm going to buy myself an Encarnacion jersey. I think he's the one, dude.
Oh my god.
You know, I
he
saw
will
a
be
kid
at the end of this season.
Last year. I saw a couple kids with a Mitch Haniger jersey, and I was like, "Oh, poor sap."
Oh no!
I was like,
you know what? Hopefully, those were his kids.
I was about to say, I hope they're his kids. Oh, Jesus Christ! That's the thing. You can't buy any jerseys right now. Oh, speaking of jerseys, did you see the City Connects? They debuted for this season last night. Did you see all of Casey Schmidt?
Everyone's balls. Everyone's
He's the
taking balls.
poster boy. Casey Schmidt has turned into the poster boy for these uniforms. It was his picture from before the season that was the one that was going around, too.
Oh, my God. Like, I knew they were so see-through weird. Guys, but that was like, I mean, where's the quality control by Fanatics on these things? I mean, not only you could see everything he was wearing underneath those pants, but you could see the jersey down to you could see the freaking label on the jersey through the pants, like you could read it. Like, that's how thin.
Jersey.
Yeah, that's how thin those pants are. I mean, growing up, of course, we had the thick ass polyester, and I understand they want breathable, but this is like cheesecloth. I don't know what the hell is going on, but these jerseys are horrible. These are just god awful. But anyway, on a tangent there. Did you guys? Okay. Did I get to the stat check? Did you hear me when my computer was starting to bork out, or did I disappear?
I heard you, but you stopped. We were hearing you, but you just stopped talking.
Like, you literally asked us if we could hear you, and then we couldn't hear you again. It was very ironic.
Fantastic. Well, I think my computer after those.
You mentioned 17th in batting average, 19th in OBP. You mentioned all that.
Okay.
Stat check.
All right, good. I have some editing to do, but anyway. All right. Well, we'll pass all that. Fix it in post.
Yep.
There you go.
There you go.
That's the thing I usually like, is I usually don't have to do any post editing, but now, today, okay.
Oh,
anyway.
Yeah.
My computer had to restart 1,000. New podcast, Off the Rails.
Yep. Season 1, episode 1. Whew.
All right, well, we got more guys going to AAA because this is the only reason I think Reggie Crawford and Hunter Bishop were promoted to Sacramento is because half their team left for the Giants, so they needed players.
Yeah, they need players too. Yeah. And actually, it's pretty soon. I think we're going to start seeing some of those AA guys. They're going to be up here too. You know, it's going to be a rapid promotion for these guys, trial by fire.
Yeah, and I think I kind of put that in the notes here. I guess, again, that's one of the silver linings about all of this, even though we thought the Giants were going to be very competitive this year. And, yeah, they still can be. They're only 2.5 out of the wild card. But I guess, if anything, you look at this like, well, these are the guys that are going to inherit the future of this team. So, okay, let's see what they can do. The problem is if they fall flat on their face and they lose, 15 out of 20 or whatever, they could get buried by the All-Star break if they keep this pace up. So, I mean, that's kind of the thing. But, I mean, are you guys at all, like, I know we were joking about buying tickets to see the Sacramento River Cats here, but, I mean, is there any reason to be excited about this? Or is it like, well, we've seen Casey Schmidt, we've seen Ramos, we've seen Luciano, we've seen Sable, and they're quad A guys right now.
I think Ramos is not a quad A guy. I think he's going to stick.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I mean, right now, I guess we're excited that our guys aren't getting thrown out for having sticky stuff on their gloves, and
Yeah.
we have a better record than the Astros, which is wild to me. I don't know. I kept telling myself for a while, well, we were kind of built for a second half resurgence, but we were built for a second half resurgence because we were going to get 3 pitchers back who were going to make a big difference. And now we just don't even have the rest of the team anymore. So it doesn't matter. Like, they come back, we're still going to score 2 runs a game. You know what I mean?
Right.
Todd and Robbie Ray aren't going to have sub-2 ERAs. Like, at this point, this season just already feels lost to me, and that sucks. But you know what? Still going to watch every condensed game, at least, because I'm that kind of Giants fan. But, I don't know. I don't know what excites me anymore
You're going to afford
about
the
this
team.
I'm just hoping for, like, one good at bat.
You can afford the team 10 or 20 minutes, but not 2.5 hours or 2 hours. You can't do that.
No. No. And look, if the game's not on, I walk into a bar and the game's not on the TV, I will ask them to change the channel. I'm still going to be that guy. But I'm not going out of my way for Giants baseball this season. That sucks, man. I don't like that.
Yeah, that's the key, is not going out of my way to watch games this year. I'm stuck right now in this middle position where I want to see the young kids do well, but I kind of want to see the team flame out so Farhan loses his job. And it's a tough line to straddle.
Yeah.
I don't want bad things to happen for players I like watching and young guys I'm excited about seeing. But, like, when Farhan and company and Pete Patilla tell Bob Melvin to keep running Austin Slater out there, I feel like something's wrong. Like, what are these people seeing that I'm not seeing? So I'm kind of done with the way Farhan constructs teams. I talked about it on this show back in February and March when Snell got signed and all that. Like, finally, I see the vision. I see the plan for this team. Well, what I see is Farhan can get a bunch of players together, but it can never create a team. It's a bunch of individuals for some reason. It always will be. And the fact that he interchanges the parts so fast, looking at it, it just looks like it hurts the club more than it helps them over the long run. And so I'm stuck in that spot of, I want to watch my team. I want them to do good. But if they do bad, maybe this thing I want to happen will happen.
Yeah. Yeah, ulterior motives for that. Cleaning house, basically.
Sure. I'm gonna take a less extreme stance on Farhan. I can't blame this season on him, because unless he drank Jobu's rum on the way out the clubhouse, he didn't cause Slater to, like, hit a freaking ball off the cage into his head, and he didn't cause Jung-Hoo Lee to get injured jumping for a ball in the outfield. Like, all these freak injuries and stuff are not on his shoulders. But
they were a crap team 2 weeks before these injuries started, right?
No, but we had guys who were hitting well below their potential and stuff like that, like, who have track records of being good hitters and stuff, who weren't hitting. I don't know why. Maybe it's because the team wasn't gelling. Maybe it's exactly that. I don't know. But to me, I do agree that the team construction, there was definitely some problems there. There's not a lot of guys. For whatever reason, we can't seem to sign guys to more than one freaking year, which is really annoying. And you look at other teams, and they're built around stars who are signed with their teams for long periods of time, right? Mm-hmm. You got Bryce Harper in Philadelphia, clearly wants to be there, and you can build a team around that guy and create excitement. But then you don't stop there, right? You don't just have Bryce Harper, right? You keep getting more and more guys who are awesome, and we can't seem to attract guys. So, yes, that could be Farhan. I don't know. I'm not gonna pretend I do know that he's the problem, but something's got to freaking change. I don't want to give up on Melvin. I think we need to hold on to him. I know he's made some bad decisions, but he's working with crap. You know what I mean? We saw Cap somehow get 100 and 8 wins. That feels like a decade ago, by the way. That feels like a million years ago. So you can get a lot out of crap, but I don't want to keep asking managers to do the impossible.
Get a lot out of crap, right? Exactly.
I want to go. Hey, look! Every day you're going to put this guy in the cleanup spot, and he's going to hit massive home runs, and he's going to be exciting to watch every day. That's what I want, and we don't have that, man. We don't have that. It's not around the corner. I don't know where it's going to come from, but sure, let's try somebody else. Let's see if we can get a guy who goes to players and wants to go 7 years, all the money you want. Take it. I don't need to outsmart you and figure out some way to give player options to you that will make you come here. I want some guy who inspires confidence and people want to come here. And I guess that's not far on.
I feel like the Giants, although they've been inferior to the Dodgers in terms of their roster for many, many, many years, and the Dodgers are winning the West every year except for 2021, right? It was exacerbated by the fact that they do have most of the Sacramento team up here right now. But when you look at that roster this week between the two teams, this is the furthest the two teams have ever been apart, in my opinion. Like, it just felt like the chasm is so large right now. And it's really, really disheartening to see those lineups pumped out by the Dodgers and then look at the Giants lineup. And you're like, how are they even going to compete? And here they are, game one, going to extra innings, right? But they're 0-5 against the Dodgers. If they lose tonight, and Webb is going to try and bounce back and salvage one game, but if they lose tonight and go 0-6, you do realize that there's only 7 more games against the Dodgers the entire season. If they won every single game after that, they would finish the season 7-6 against the Dodgers. I mean, that's the problem, is that they put themselves in such a big hole here, and they have such a wide gap between the two rosters. It's disheartening as a fan to feel like it's a junior high team against high school.
Yeah. Well, but the Dodgers, we can't compare ourselves to the Dodgers because the Dodgers are like, you know, that one friend who would turn off all the trade rules in MLB and just give himself all the superstars. Mm-hmm. And you're like, that's lame. That's dumb. You shouldn't even be proud of that. If you win, of course you did. That's Dodgers. I can't believe Dodgers fans are stoked. Like, if I was a Dodgers, I'd be like, this is stupid, dude.
I disagree.
Everybody?
I'm pretty sure you'd be happy if the Giants had this roster.
You'd be loving it.
No, hell no. When the Warriors got Kevin Durant, I was like, that's lame, dude. That's lame. I was like, I'll watch it, but it's kind of lame. I understood why people were pissed at it.
Celebrate that championship with Kevin Durant.
No, of course I watched the hell out of it. I was like, I'm gonna watch this baseball or this basketball, but no, but I was like, clearly there's something wrong with the sport, and it's like, I don't know what the answer is, but like football is really interesting right now because there actually kind of is parity. You know, it's kind of miraculous that there is, but different teams, is the Chiefs aside, different teams seem to be like good every year, and it's interesting to watch. The Dodgers basically have the all-star team as their lineup right now, and it's amazing we even got to extra innings against them in one game. But no, it's dumb. It's at this point, it's dumb. Like people are really mad about sticky stuff and stealing signs. The real cheating is paying $500 million more than the next guy. You know what I mean? That to me is more egregious than putting sticky stuff on your fingers.
And then having your guy defer 98% of his contract and you only pay him $2 million a year.
I don't know why we're not mad about that. We want to talk about fair play and level play, and we talk about like stealing signs as the biggest egregious move. I'm sorry, but just having way more money and spending it and just putting all the all-stars on one team that's fucking cheating. I'm sorry, like that's cheating. And I get that there's small market teams and big market teams, but look, I'm an anti-capitalist in every way, so maybe this is just me and everybody else doesn't see it. But it's the same shit to me as like O.J. Simpson gets to get off for murder because he can afford the best lawyer. Mm-hmm. That's not fair, dude. I don't like that. The Dodgers just get to, have the best team in baseball every single season. Yep. And everybody else has to like somehow sneak up on them like the Diamondbacks. Like that's the only possible way. I don't know. It's stupid and it saps the fun out of baseball in a way. When you're watching two teams and it's like I'm watching a pro team versus a college team right now, and that's not exciting.
It goes for me. It goes
baseball.
two ways. It's a double-edged sword because number one, I completely agree with you, Willie, that I wish there was more parity in Major League Baseball. And I know they try to set it up with a luxury tax and all that stuff like that. But teams like the Dodgers will just overspend. And then you get guys like Ohtani. Somehow it's this loophole they've exercised because no one really has done this before. A superstar deferring 98% of his contract without interest, by the way. And he gets paid that in 15 years.
Giving him free money.
He's just giving him free money, especially as the value of the contract will increase over time with inflation, which is insane. But it's the fact also that the Giants, although maybe not quite having the financial resources of the Dodgers, they have the financial resources. And they did exercise the second most dollars, though, this offseason in the major leagues, of course, behind the Dodgers. And so the Giants did try financially this year, but at the same time, it's still frustrating that the Giants have the financial wherewithal to do this, and it's just not bearing fruit, at all.
But we were picking off of the trash pile.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like the Dodgers had already gone in and picked up two shiniest toys, and then basically all the other poor kids came in and were like, "Well, what's freaking left?"
We got the Wish.com toys.
Exactly. Yeah.
That team of free agents.
Yeah, we're like, Jorge Soler, is that guy still a thing? Like, yeah, okay, we'll grab him, I guess. It's frustrating, and it makes it annoying to watch. Ohtani, I guess, just doesn't care about money. Clearly, like he doesn't even pay attention to his bank account while his interpreter is just rifling off millions of dollars like into a casino. So that makes sense to me that he's the guy who's like, yeah, whatever. I just want to play baseball on the best team. But not everybody's gonna make $1 billion in promotions in their home country and in America. So they don't really all have that option. The rest of the guys are trying to, create generational wealth for their families. So he's a special case. But it's not just him; it's all of the guys on the Dodgers, and it's ridiculous when you go, oh my God, thank God we struck Ohtani out. Who's up next? Oh, another All-Star. Cool. Mm-hmm. We